Hello, everyone. My name is Valerie Simic Bailey from the travel blog Valerie and Valise. I cover Alaska travel and travel in the American West. But if you are watching this video, you are interested in Alaska and specifically Homer, which is, if I can shamefully admit this, a place I never visited while growing up in Alaska. I know my family members did, but somehow I did not. So I had to remedy that when I started traveling back to Alaska because Homer is such a special place that people rave about. So it was a high priority for me a couple years ago. And I am so excited that we have a video for you this year. I'm so excited to have Mina from Homer here, and I'm just going to hand it right over for you to tell us all about your amazing Alaskan community.
Hello, everyone. Valerie, thank you so much for having me here today and Homer represented. My name is Mina Gehrman. I'm the marketing director here at the Homer Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. I was also born and raised in Homer, so I bring that awesome perspective. I left for about 10 years for school and whatnot, but I had spent every summer of my life here in Homer, and I moved back about a year and a half ago. So I'm really happy to be back here, be in this role, because I really love Homer. And now that I've traveled outside of Alaska quite a bit, I know that it truly is such a special place in the world and in Alaska. So we have a little presentation for you going through some of the basics about Homer. So we like to describe Homer as all of Alaska in one little town because it really is this place where we have it all, or it's all here, I would say, except for maybe Northern Lights all the time. But I did see those last week and they were phenomenal. And what else don't we have here? Oh, hot springs, I would say. But other than that, we really do have it all. So I
So
think
I have
that,
to, can I jump in real fast? Don't you have a
yeah.
Nordic hot springs that a property is developing? Are you going to be able to spoil that? Tell us about that.
Well, West Wind Cabins in the middle of
Yeah.
Homer, they have a spa like, yeah,
Okay.
it's a bit of a Nordic experience. It's small though, but hot springs like natural in the ground, like China, that's something
Okay.
we don't
Yeah, that's fair.
have.
That's fair. Okay. All
But
right. Sorry to
I really
interrupt.
thought about this a lot of what don't we have, and I think it would be, the hot springs. But we definitely have Northern Lights, but maybe not like Fairbanks. So yes, all of Alaska in one little town, and I feel like we love leading with that because we kind of aren't, say, in the shining light of places to visit in Alaska because we are a little bit off the regular path. You do have to get here. And once people are here, the thing we hear more than anything else is we wish we knew how much there was to do in Homer. We wish we planned accordingly because there are these memes and jokes about Alaska travel where, people think they can bounce around from Fairbanks to Homer to Seward in like half a day or whatever, but you can't because Alaska's huge. It's 1/5 the size of the United States. So there's a lot of geographical diversity here. Okay, so traditionally we've been known as the halibut fishing capital of the world. When you first get to Homer, you either drive 4 hours from Anchorage south, one of the most beautiful drives of your life, or you take a 30 to 45-minute flight from Anchorage. Also, I recommend that if the weather's good and you can do that because it feels like a private flight tour, right? Because they're small planes, um, and it's stunning. Um, yeah, so the drive is about 4 hours, and the prices range from like 170 to a little over 200 for a one-way plane ticket down to Homer. And there's a few different airlines you can use. We do have Aleutian Airlines that just started up again this month in Homer. We've got Raven and we've got Grant. Grant flies to Kenai, and that's about an hour drive. So it's really interesting, though. Homer is actually the most westerly you can drive on a continuous roadway in North America. So it's just a fun little fact. We're also known as the end of the road because we are the end of the road. People like to fight about if the end of the road is the Spit, which we'll get into in a second, or out East End. It's out East End, but either one works. You know what I mean? We are also dubbed officially as the city of peonies. We are one of the major exporters for peonies and weddings and those flowers in the United States, because we have 25 peony farms here. So for the full month of July, we celebrate with farm tours, workshops, wreath making, bouquet making, art exhibits, all that stuff. And we are in the Kenai Peninsula. So basically anything you're exploring south of Anchorage is the Kenai Peninsula, which includes Seward, Hope, Soldotna, Kenai, Ninilchik, Anchor Point, Cooper's Landing. That's the Kenai Peninsula. And that it has been dubbed the Alaska's Playground, because it has so much to offer. It's really great. Okay, so we have been getting more attention the last few years with some incredible awards. We were just noted as the top 10 trending destinations in the United States by TripAdvisor. We were number 7 for 2023. I feel like that's still pretty recent. And then we're also dubbed top 5 best small town art scenes in the United States by USA Today. Also, another art awards, top small art town getaway by Only in Your State. And then Travel and Leisure also noted us the 15 best places to travel in July for 2024. I couldn't agree with that more. July is my personal favorite, actually June, because it's my birthday month, but July is super green, and I always recommend to tourists and friends to come in July because we have fireweed blooms everywhere, and it's absolutely stunning, especially on your drive down from Anchorage, because there'll be just purple stalks of fireweed flowers everywhere, and it's absolutely stunning. And then they die pretty quickly in early August, but it's really fun to watch the fireweed bloom and then die. You can always kind of measure summer like that. So what is the most known things about Homer? Well, the Homer Spit is probably the most famous landmark. And what is a spit? A spit is a skinny stretch of land that goes out into the ocean. So we have the second largest spit in North America, and it is about 4 miles long. So you can see here, when you come into Homer, that skinny stretch of land is the spit. And it's a really fun place to hang out. There is the harbor, a bunch of shops. I will be referencing our visitor guide because it is a beautiful guide that my team and I put together this last year. And since Silas, my coworker, and I both grew up here, we poured a lot of tidbits into here. So this moment is the famous moment where you fall in love with Homer. You're coming down Baycrest Hill. Here's the fireweed blooms to the left. You can see the pink grass, basically. And I really like to talk about the geography of Homer and how it sits in Kachemak Bay, because it's what makes Homer so special is because it is in one giant estuary. So you land in Anchorage, you drive all the way down through the Kenai Peninsula, Alaska's Playground. So you come in down, and then you see our spit stretching out. And Homer is really unique as well because this whole area is an extremely rich, nutrient-dense environment for animals and nature and sea life, all the same thing. But it's what makes Homer so magical, I feel like, because it's constantly churning nutrients and attracting different sea mammals and sea life into the bay. So we call this Kachemak Bay, and we call all these mountains across the bay. And so then I also tell people you haven't really visited the best of Homer until you've gone across the bay, because across the bay, the geography is different. It turns into I like to call it the Arctic tropics, but it's actually a rainforest across the bay. So it really feels like Jurassic Park when you get over there. Things are bigger, things are greener, lusher. And then in the bay, across the bay, there's multiple little bays you can explore, many of which have high-end lodges and resorts, restaurants, There's also another community called Seldovia across the bay that you can explore, stay in. Halibut Cove has a restaurant. China Poot has a new restaurant called the Meandering Goat. So it's very exciting. You can get to Homer, but then you need a day to be in Homer. You need a few days to go across the bay, kayak, visit that, hike, and then you need more days, especially if you're going bear viewing. We're known as the #1 bear viewing destination because we are the closest location to Katmai National Park or Lake Clark National Park. So I just needed to take a little pivot to talk about the geography because I think that's really important. Alaska's so huge, people get here, they don't even know where they are. And so here we are, South Central, right in there. It's absolutely a magical place. Yep, and I think all these points here in this slide are really had been touched on as well. Because of the geography and the land, we have some of the most exceptional hiking, kayaking, and fishing available. One of my favorite activities is to go kayaking across the bay. It's one of the most remote, I feel like, life-changing experiences a person can have who maybe grew up in the city in the States because you're literally around no one and there's so much wildlife. It can be quite shocking. I've seen whales on my kayak. I've seen seals, countless sea otters. It can be really marvelous. We have a ton of charter, full day, half day, multi-day fishing experiences people can go on. From halibut to salmon to cod. We have crabbing here in the winter. We have spearfishing as well, led by Coldwater here in Homer, Alaska. And gosh, so with all that geography I showed you, you can just imagine there are endless beaches here. We actually have some beaches across the bay that I forget what they're called, but we call them like some tropical beach name because it gets really hot in there and it can get up to like 90 because as some people know or don't know if they have been to Alaska or not, but the Alaska sun hits different here. It really does. It's quite hot when it comes out. You can definitely get a tan. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to mention that we are on the Ring of Fire and we have 5 active Ring of Fire volcanoes in your line of sight at all times. So once you get to Homer, it's 180-degree views of mountains, glaciers, and volcanoes in your face. And yes, they are active. I love them because they're absolutely stunning to look at. Like I look out my window right now and I can see this baby, which is Mount Augustine. And Mount Augustine, it looks so beautiful with the sunrise and sunset all the time. And so here's just a little diagram of all the mountains we can see all the time. And on a sunny day, you look across the bay from basically anywhere in Homer and you see Douglas, Mount Augustine, Mount Iliamna, Mount Redoubt, and then Mount Spur. Especially you can go to Anchor Point, which is the next neighboring town, and they have an exquisite beach. And you're in these volcanoes even more. Here's one of the most popular things to do across the bay, as you should know what that is by now. It's Gruant Glacier, and Gruant Glacier is actually always in your line of sight when you're coming into Homer as well. And this glacier is awesome because you can hike all the way on this far ridge. You can jump in, you can kayak, you can pack raft, you can ice skate it on the winter, which is one of the activities a lot of my friends are doing right now, getting a boat over there and just ice skating. It's super fun. You can also camp right in front of this glacier. And this glacier is so special because it's so accessible. It's a 3.2 mile hike total, and it's very flat. So people who have challenges walking or whatever, it's really accessible and easy for most people. So the elevation is 200 feet total. So you don't really need to worry if you can do it and you can take it slow. I recommend 6 hours for this whole experience. Really allow yourself time to have lunch there. And there are endless ways to get across there using water taxis. We can dive into that a little bit, but it's basically a boat water taxi that can get you across the bay. And then just one thing I need to know, two more things I need to know is we're actually one of Alaska's favorite vacation spots for Alaskans. most people we talk to when we're traveling for work or I'm traveling and you bring up Homer, people say, oh, that's our favorite. We love going down there whenever we can, taking our RVs down there. People watch the weather and come down to Homer when there's a sunny day. And one of the reasons that it is Alaska's favorite vacation spot is we are, surprisingly, a world-class food destination. And this is absolutely true, as Homer attracts so many creative, special, talented chefs who really pour a lot of their heart into making it sustainable, beautiful, um, and different. And so there's a lot of high-end restaurants here that especially open up in the summer. And once you get here and you start hearing all the restaurant recommendations, it's hard because you want to eat it all. And I do have a little really fun little spread in the guide of eat here and drink here, and I think that kind of encapsulates just the beautiful local flavors and whatnot. And then drinking here as well, we have many breweries, meaderies, wineries, Bear Creek Winery, Meadery, um, many local breweries. This one, Homer Brewing Company, was the first on the Kenai Peninsula. So we have a fermentation tour here. So some of these places also offer non-alcoholic beverages. So it can really be fun to just get that Homer vibe. And some of these places, like Grace Ridge Brewing, often has a food truck outside. So yeah, world-class food destination. What else is going on in Homer? We work really hard here at the Chamber to put on annual events for the community and Alaskans, and to increase tourism. So we have the Winter Carnival celebration. We've got a big parade that happens in February. We've got the Winter King Salmon Tournament. This one you might have heard of. It's the largest fishing tournament in Alaska, and it attracts so many people. It's a really fun sight. You've got the harbor above. You've got hundreds of boats coming out and coming in, the families watching and cheering. We give away up to $200,000 in cash prizes. We had Blackwater Railroad performing there last year with the beer garden, and it was just really fun. Something great to do in the winter. The Shorebird Festival has been going on, oh my gosh, I don't want to get this wrong, but many decades. And we attract birders from all over the world. And it's a 4-day event with talks, workshops, and all of that. Taste of Homer is an event we have at the last week of May into the first week of June. So really the first week of June, my bad. And restaurants will all offer a special menu, offering. And it's people's choice vote on their favorite. Last year, Johnny's Corner, Boatyard Cafe, and Alibi won. Check those places out. And this year we're starting a brand new festival called Harbor Fest, and it's going to be a 1-day event that finishes Taste of Homer. And we're going to be partnering with Salmon Fest and Sacred Acre and creating a really special sunset performance by Dirt Wire, a national headliner who performed at Sacred Acre in Ninilchik, Alaska this year, which is 20 miles from Anchor Point, which is 10 miles from Homer. So it's very close. And we're also going to be having Black Barrel and the Badmen and the other Alaska headliners as well. It'll be a full day of event. We'll have live art, some chef competitions, and hopefully a whole boat mariner component as well. So if anyone has already been out on the spit during sunset, I'm sure you can imagine how incredible a Dirt Wire sunset set will be. So we hope to see you there. Mark your calendars. That's going to be June 7th. As I mentioned before, the Peony celebration in July for the full month this year, because it was so popular, it's going to go into August a bit. We release bloom reports, where you can go experience the best peonies. And then we also have the World Arts Festival in September. It's 2 weeks of comedy, art, workshops, talks, dance, theater, film, movies. And there's a whole program release for that. We do a kickoff gala here at the Chamber And I mean, those are just the ones we put on with the chamber. There are so many things happening in Homer. And if you just go to homeralaska.org and then events, you'll see the calendar is always full of something. I'm often overwhelmed because I do the event newsletter. How much is always happening in Homer? We also have a really special chamber and visitor center because we have 16 volunteer hosts year round that are there standing at the front desk to answer your calls and help you guide your itineraries. So please call us and let us help you with your trip. So now you might be asking, okay, when do I go to Homer? Summer, winter, fall, or spring? Each season has something unique to offer. I've already ranted about summer. I mean, the fireweed here you can see on the right, bear viewing, halibut fishing, salmon fishing, hiking, adventure and eco tours, natural history tours. The list goes on. Tide pooling is really fun here. So it's awesome. But also, gosh, it's already winter here. It's been winter for a little over a month now, and it's absolutely stunning day in and day out. My jaw drops every time I'm on the way to work with the sunrise. I mean, if you can get here, there's a lot of cozy accommodations here, spa accommodations. We've got Homer Inn and Spa. We've got Land's End out at the Spit with a sauna and hot tub. We've got West Wind with sauna, hot tub, cold plunge. We've got Baycrest cabins with hot tubs and saunas as well. So it can be extremely cozy. And then on this side of the bay, we have a bunch of awesome ski trails, cross-country ski trails, snowshoeing trails that once you get a little bit high up, you see that 180-degree view of the mountains, glaciers, and volcanoes. We also have a rope tow, which is really fun for kiddos, and you can do sledding there. A lot of people love snow machining down here as well. And there's Winter King salmon fishing as well. So it's a really special place to be in the winter as well. Fall, spring is really fun time because, July is pretty crazy here, but June, everything's open. The restaurants are all the summer restaurants and food trucks are open as well, and there's not as many people here, and it's absolutely stunning as well in May and June. And then as September, August, September, November, fall here is absolutely gorgeous as well. And you can experience, hiking, kayaking. Water taxis are all year round, so you can always go across the bay. And imagine hiking or snowshoeing or having a campfire beach experience during this time of the year. It's awesome. What's new in 2025? Alaska Legacy Snowmobile Tours. We'll start giving guided tours this winter. Land's End Resort down on the Spit is completely remodeling. That's really exciting. They've been around since I was born, and it's exciting to see expanding conference rooms, a new restaurant, new suites. And then I talked about Harbor Fest. Many of our member businesses here, Homer Town is really looking to increase people coming in June and September. So look out for deals and planning your trip during that time because people are happy to have you. And I did mention there's some new all-inclusive lodges across the bay. We've got Odyssey Lodge with a restaurant open to the public called the Meandering Goat. So you can either go there and they also have like a golf simulator, pool room, sauna, hot tubs, all that. So you could go there and enjoy the restaurant, or you can go enjoy the restaurant for a day. They offer day passes. There is also a all new, all inclusive lodge called Bear Cove Retreat in Bear Cove, and this one has a sauna and an amazing team. Really welcoming, warm environment that kind of feels like a bed and breakfast across the bay. And then on this side, we've got West Wind Cabins. Check out their social media for all these people. But some really stunning cabins right here in the center of Homer. And they've got a little mini Nordic spa experience as well. And then Alaska Helicopter Tours is now operating out of Homer. And so there's helicopter tours you can do all throughout across the bay on those glaciers, mountains, volcanoes, this side too. Highly recommend. So I will pause myself now and open it up.
Awesome, thank you. So if you are watching this, you will probably see that I take notes too, because this is as much a learning opportunity for me when I sit down with each destination, because you can never know everything about Alaska. I mean, 10 days is like not enough. A lifetime is not enough, and even just one of these communities, and things are always changing. So I'm always taking notes over here too. So if you have a whole page of notes, you're not alone. But I do have some questions. Okay, let's see. Here's a great one to start with. This is from Tracy. I know Tracy in 2025 is still trying to decide where to go. So I've actually asked this question of each destination on the road system. So just if you can give us some tips of RV visitors, how does that work? Where can they go? Services available and so on.
Absolutely. RVing is an awesome option for visiting Homer, and especially because you're already going to hit probably the Alcan and Anchorage and coming down to the end of the road. So there's a few RV options. We've got Baycrest KOA right at the top before you get down to Homer. We've got right in the center of Homer, right in front of Bishop's Beach, our main beach, RV options. Right in Old Town of Homer, really cute neighborhood. And then there's multiple RV campgrounds on the Homer Spit. And I also recommend doing it in Anchor Point Beach because it's private, a little bit away from the scene. So yes, definitely
Lots
come
of
down with an RV in Homer. I would definitely call us if you want to get into those tips a little bit more. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. And if you've watched more than one of these videos, you've probably heard me harping on about the phone and how powerful the phone is, and how Alaska destinations and Alaska businesses still do a lot of business by phone. So get over your phone phobias, pick up the phone,
Yeah.
plan your trip by phone. I promise everyone's really nice. They're not going to it's not scary. Alaskans love talking about where they're from, obviously. So yeah, it's going to go great. Just give them a call if you have any questions. Okay, here's a good one. Lynn, I think, is probably thinking about the shoulder season, which is great that you addressed that specific for Homer. So when kind of typically is there no longer snow in Homer?
Maybe I would say in May. I think
Okay.
there's still a bit of snow in April, and by mid-May, everything's kind of gone.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty typical for this whole part of the state. But being near a rainforest means that you're near a very high snow place in the winter. So it can also just depend from year to year, right?
Yeah, and just being very coastal community, it's a bit warmer here, right in Homer. It's in the neighborhoods outside of Homer, they might have, like right now, there's no snow like dumped in Homer. It's a little bit on the grass, but then in the neighborhood, 10 minutes out, there's snow everywhere. So Homer being right on the beach, it's a little bit more warm and humid.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. Speaking of snow-ish, Kelly is curious about glacier landing tours out of Homer. What are the options?
Yeah, there's multiple options. A lot of businesses, you can go to our website at homeralaska.org and look up helicopters, and there's going to be a few different tour providers that pop up. And there's a lot of helicopter adventures to Gruent Glacier and other glaciers that I don't even know about that are across the bay. As you saw, there's a ton of glaciers. And there's a lot of elopements and weddings that happen on those glaciers. I've seen jaw-dropping, stunning elopement and wedding shoots on those glaciers. So people don't often think about that here in Homer, but it's, like I said, we have it all.
Yeah, Homer is a wedding destination, actually. I know because I follow you all on social media and I see the photos and I'm like, wow, those backgrounds are perfect. Even if not everything goes perfectly on your big day, the background is definitely going to be there for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are definitely a wedding destination. The Love Here section in the visitor guide, I forgot to show y'all, but We have so many amazing opportunities and venues and catering options, and buildings to rent out for weddings and elopements.
Yeah. Okay. Want to be conscious of your time. So I have a couple more questions for you. This one is from Maddie, who is excited to get probably across the bay, is my guess. Um, but do you need a satellite device for hiking typically, or
It
is there cell service across the bay? I don't think so, right?
On this side, you're good. Depends on your carrier, though. I have AT&T, and I have no problem on this side. Across the bay, it's a bit more spotty. A lot of people, like if you're going on Gruink, you will have service in and out. But a few locations across the bay, you won't have service, depending on your carrier. But you don't need a satellite device at all. If you want one for extra safety and precaution and you can afford it, go for it.
Okay. Good advice. Thank you. Let's see. Erin asked about so the larger context of the question is that she said that they are staying somewhere that has a kitchen. So they want to cook their own meals, which is great. And I know Homer has grocery stores, but can you buy fresh fish? Does anyone do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's many locations all across the spit that will do it. Coal Point does it, Salmon Sisters does it, and many of the halibut and fishing charters would have access to that. Definitely give us a call for more specific info, but that's quite a thing. And there's a few restaurants that offer also cooking your fresh catch,
Oh,
to make
nice.
fish and chips and whatnot.
Cool. Oh, I love that part of Alaska. You can be like, I caught this today. And they're like, great, let's throw it on the grill.
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of just barely teased on the topic I want to cover in my very last question for you. This is from Tara, and it is about tide pooling. So, do you have any recommendations on where you can get some great tide pooling?
Yeah, across the bay is supreme and premier for tide pooling. If you watch the tides, it's one of my favorite things to do in the whole world. I grew up doing that, grew up doing field trips with tide pooling, but you can also have exceptional tide pooling on this side as well, just right here in Bishop's Beach. We've got people who will do it year round. So it just depends on the tides. You can tide pool anywhere.
Awesome. And
I
is
would
there a tide chart on homeralaska.org?
I don't know.
But you could find one on Google for sure,
Yeah,
easily. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We've got a bunch of tide tables here if you want to borrow one, but yeah, I feel like that's just widely accessible now.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, thank you. I'm gonna start to wrap things up. I know there were there's so many questions. Homer is such a beloved local destination within the state, and the word is out. So lots of out-of-state visitors want to come too. Um, and with that, I will just say one last time, Nina, thank you so much for joining me and teaching me all about Homer, teaching us all about Homer so that people can come visit.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me and offering this as a resource to folks.